Luffy uses the power of the Gear 4th to rock Katakuri's world, but the Mochi Man refuses to back down. Three things I learned from this amazing episode of the One Piece anime series. 1. Rayleigh is kind of like an even more badass version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. 2. Oven has amazing freaking hair. How the hell does he even pull that off? And of course, number 3, Katakuri would be really great at a game of Limbo. How the hell does he even do this? Guys, this episode of One Piece was fucking awesome. Easily one of the best episodes of the entire Whole Cake Island arc, and little by little, every single episode that features a battle between Luffy and Katakuri just continues to get even better. And now that Luffy has finally decided to use the Gear 4th, things have officially intensified to the point we are getting this much closer to the ultimate culmination of this battle. And yet, even with all of the amazingness of this episode, there is still a lot more to see. But this episode was great because Luffy was finally beginning to counterattack against Katakuri, remembering everything that he learned from Rayleigh. There's a lot of flashbacks of Rayleigh in this episode of teaching Luffy the fundamentals of observation hockey and of using the color of arms, which he combines with his power of the Gear 4th to absolutely rock Katakuri's world. There are some amazing scenes in this episode, and what I especially love is that we got to see the full repertoire of all of the amazingness that is Gear 4th. We got to see the return of awesome attacks like the Rhino Schneider. I was also especially happy to see the return of the Leo Bazooka, which was one of my favorite moments from the Dressrosa arc, when Luffy used that against Doflamingo and sent his ass flying. It's just as destructive here, and I love how quick he is able to use it, basically just throwing a barrage of everything at Katakuri. And what I love about this, as they're both sort of flying around this room and crashing through all of these walls, is that whenever Katakuri actually gets blown back, he manages to just always stop himself from falling on his back and like skidding backwards just using his feet. And there's a really big crucial moment after getting hit by one of Luffy's Rhino Schneiders that it looks like he's finally about to fall on his back, and he actually utilizes his neck to propel himself backwards, flipping around and getting back on his feet. He would much rather potentially break his neck than actually fall on his back, and that is fucking metal. It's so freaking cool. And the fact that he's made a mochi too means that he can sort of soften the blow. But it's in this moment that after he's been pushed back so many times that he reveals that really he's just allowing Luffy to get a few hits in while he calms himself down. While Luffy can use the power of the color of arms and armament hockey to actually break through a lot of his attacks and hurt him, the thing is, Katakuri still has the amazing ability to see into the future, and thus everything that comes at him is kind of like moving in slow motion, which allows him to effortlessly dodge all of Luffy's attack even when he's sending a barrage of things towards him. It's done in this really great way that kind of reminds me of the T-1000 from Terminator 2, and I especially love that Katakuri even reveals another brand new ability, which are his donut arms, where he summons these giant donut mochis, which create these like massive arms which he can control with his regular fists, almost as if he's controlling like a giant robot that actually doesn't have a physical body. And this is where he finally starts to get the upper hand on Luffy yet again, being able to damage him and hurt him in a number of really impressive ways. And just the overall scale and style of this attack just looks so freaking awesome. In fact, I think my favorite thing about this battle is when Katakuri actually managed to capture Luffy. Luffy actually punches directly through his chest, and then he uses the armament in his body to trap him and hold on to his arm so he can continue to wail on him with his massive donut fists. It's just so freaking satisfying, and it features some of the best animation that we've actually seen from their battle. Essentially, if you're looking for like a really high-octane, badass fighting episode of One Piece, this is a perfect case for it right here. But all in all, I think this was a perfect episode of One Piece because it was a good balance of the other parts of the story as well. Typically, every time we go to Sanji and Pudding and Chiffon making the cake, I get a little disappointed, as it's mostly just more of the same, which is watching all of these weird Pee-wee-esque mechanisms creating this giant freaking cake. It's hilarious and over the top in that way that only works in One Piece, but mostly that's all you get from these scenes. So it's just more of like, hey, here's where the cake is at this point, now we're gonna go back to the battle. But they actually do something different here with Brule actually talking to Pudding, letting her know that she knows about the secret of the Straw Hat Pirates meeting at the Chocolate Island, and that they're going to find a way to intercept them, and that apparently this guy by the name of Oven is already on the island, and he's another one of these sons of Big Mom, and he is just this ridiculous, super giant giant jack dude with the craziest looking hair ever. He looks like he could be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure character, but I assure you, Oven is going to be a really awesome villain for this arc, and his introduction in this episode was really, really exciting, especially because they also bring back the character of Pound, the father of Chiffon and Lola, and now that he is free, he desperately wants to see his daughter, but no one is letting him inside until he has a tense confrontation with Oven, and Oven does not like his stepfather at all. He absolutely hates him, and it looks like he's about to kill him, but they don't follow up on that. Really, the rest of the episode follows Sanji, Pudding, and Chiffon as they listen to Pudding talking to Brule, and they're trying to come up with some sort of plan as how they're going to get out of this sticky situation. Mostly, they're just going to focus on making that cake, and what might be the most badass scene of the episode, and it's not even an action scene, is that amazing chills down your spine moment where Pudding is commenting about the fact that Katakuri's unstoppable. He's never lost to anyone, but Sanji reassures her that this will be the day that he will lose for the very first time, and they cut back to Luffy as he begins his barrage against Katakuri once again. So, what's the rundown on this episode of One Piece? Oh, the action in this episode was just so good and so consistently clean in every single way. It was such a joy finally getting to see Gearforth again. It's still a relatively brand new ability for Luffy, being really featured in only one major battle and a spin-off movie, and I'm already enjoying this battle a lot more than the one with Doflamingo, if only for the fact that Katakuri is just a ridiculously more intimidating character, and the fact that he still really is kind of holding back from some of his abilities. Both of these characters, in many ways, haven't even really revealed their trump cards quite yet, but every single time they bring out, like, a brand new ability or some sort of, like, move, it manages to impress more than the last, and I really loved seeing Katakuri actually utilize his donut arm ability, the way that it was animated, and the sound effects that go with it, and the overall speed. Reading that in the manga, I didn't know it was actually going to be that fast, but for it to basically be like a giant train, which is like exploding in midair towards Luffy, like the way that it's animated, it just looks so effective in how powerful it is and how much damage that it can actually do. It knocks back Luffy and he bounces around and it's actually kind of goofy, but you can tell that it causes a lot of pain for him. That, and I think my other favorite moment had to be Katakuri stopping himself from falling on his back by actually bouncing off of his neck and flipping backwards. That moment was just so perfect, in my opinion. And even during that entire beatdown, he is still not down yet. He's just sort of been just trying to calm down during this entire time while taking this massive beating from Luffy, which was just such a great barrage of all of the best techniques from Gearforth that we've seen, whether, like I said, be the Leo Bazooka or even the freaking Culverine, which returned in this episode, looking even better than it did in the battle with Doflamingo. So yeah, production value-wise, this is one of the better-looking episodes of One Piece that I've actually seen in a while, and everything looks consistently good. Even the slower moments with Sanji, Pudding, Chiffon, Pound returning, who's just a big, goofy, ridiculous, slobbering character, Oven, who's just so freaking cool-looking. I love his color scheme of this like sort of mixture of oranges and yellows. It goes perfect with his entire theme of his powers, which you will see a lot more of as the actual arc is going to go on. Really, this was like a tops episode of One Piece for me. Definitely, I think, my favorite action episode from Whole Cake Island. And the fact that I've been saying that for practically every review for the last couple of episodes just shows how good they're actually doing with building up the intensity of this battle and really making this seem like this is the greatest battle that Luffy has actually ever had. That combined with the fact that Luffy himself continues to actually evolve in this battle, learning from Katakuri and learning the secrets of his abilities. Really, guys, this was just an epic episode. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5, and I would love to hear any of your thoughts about it. If any of you guys watched this episode of One Piece, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What do you think of the battle between Luffy and Katakuri? Did you have a favorite moment from their battle in this episode? What do you hope to see from the rest of the Whole Cake Island arc? Let's get a discussion going on about this episode right now. Thank you guys for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down, baby.